What's up, guys? My name is Mark Fatanti. I am a realtor at Century 21 in southern Idaho. And today we're going to talk about closing costs, what they are, just a general gist of them. Maybe you're a first-time home buyer. Maybe you just want a refresher on what exactly closing costs entail, how much you should have, what to expect type of deal. So without that, let's get into it. Okay, so first off, what even are closing costs? It kind of depends on what you are doing. If you're buying a home or selling a home, your closing costs vary on what it is you're doing. Buyer closing costs, it's usually responsible for like fees with the mortgage, application fees, appraisal fees, loan origination fees, title insurance, escrow, attorney fees, property taxes, homeowners insurance, and admin fees. Attorney is kind of like escrow. It doesn't have to be an attorney. It's just something that, the general gist. Somebody's got to complete the transaction, right? Property taxes and homeowners insurance, that can be split between you and the seller. The seller can do it, the buyer can do it. I mean, honestly, you can argue for most of this in a contract, but that's something you can go further in depth with your realtor when the time comes. Now, a seller usually includes agent commission fees at this time. Now, they are talking about possibly changing that. Well, not possibly. They're talking about changing that so that realtors will no longer have access to look at if there's a commission coming from a sale. So they'll have to negotiate commissions with the buyer. They can still probably negotiate that closing costs take part of that commission, but it's not a guaranteed thing. As of now, a seller usually pays the closing costs. And transfer fees, outstanding loan if there's any left, and then some miscellaneous fees. The outstanding balance is pretty self-explanatory. It's exactly what it sounds like. If you have a house and you have a mortgage on the house for $420,000 and you only sell the house for $410,000, well, you still owe $10,000, and the bank wants their money. So now we'll get further in depth on those topics, and we'll kind of go over what all those little fees were, what they meant, and then go from there. Okay, so now we can go into in-depth buyer fees. Your loan origination fee is charges from the lender for processing your loan application. Your appraisal fee, that's a cost for a property assessment of the home value. Now, it's not a mandatory thing all the time, but usually loans require it, and it does give you a chance to back out of a property or negotiate for a lower price if it doesn't come back at the price that you're purchasing it for. And I don't really know of any loan that doesn't require it, but most loans require some sort of appraisal. So then you have your credit report fee, which is the fee for pulling the buyer report. Your home inspection fee, which isn't a mandatory thing, but it's definitely something I recommend all the time. Simply because, well, you're purchasing even if it's a $200,000 house, why wouldn't you spend $300 to save you from a bad $200,000 investment? So you're always going to want to get some type of home inspection. I always recommend it. It's never a good idea to purchase a home without a home inspection. So you have your title search and insurance. This can be split amongst the seller, or it can just be a seller cost, a pretty common one to go back and forth. That's just the fees for searching for the property title and the insurance to protect you if anything's wrong with the title. Then you got your escrow, which is charges for the closing process, which this is also pretty common, either split and or seller fee, but this can go either way. Your recording fee, same as the other two, can go either way. It's a fee for recording the sale with the property office. Prepaid property tax and insurance. You may need to pay a portion of this up front. It depends how you're negotiating the contract. It depends what all of that is. It's just the property taxes, stuff like that, your insurance, homeowners insurance, everything. Usually we call it extended coverage. You get an extended coverage on the home insurance to cover you, and that'll transfer over, whatever. But yeah, property taxes, they still have to get paid for the year. Usually they come out in like a monthly sum type of deal or whatever out of your mortgage, and you don't even think about it. But still, at the end of the year, if your property taxes annually are $2,600, then you still got to pay $2,600. You know, if you're at $1,250, you still got to pay the remaining amount before you move out of that place, or somebody does, before they can transfer it. So HOA fees, not always applicable. I assume most of you know what an HOA is, homeowner association. You know, the guys that say you can't have too many dogs in the neighborhood, they're coming taken. In Idaho, the closing costs vary. They're usually around 2.5% to 3% on the average home. So that's definitely something to take in consideration when purchasing your next home. Cool. Seller closing costs. So sellers pay the real estate agent commissions. We already talked about that. That's typically the largest fee, and understandably so. They usually negotiate the contract with an agent, and as we talked about previously, in August, that is looking to change. A buyer might have to start paying some of his own agent commissions when he is purchasing a home. So real estate agent commissions, as of now, that is probably the biggest seller fee. Your title insurance, which we talked about. The seller can pay for the title insurance, a pretty typical one-off fee. The escrow, talked about it, pretty typical. Recording fees, transfer of taxes, outstanding mortgage balance, we talked about all of these. Now, it sounds like a lot less than a buyer's fee list, but we're talking roughly 8% of the home loan, maybe more, will come out of the seller's pocket for closing costs. So it's not a cheap endeavor to sell a home. So keep that in mind if you think you're going to cash out on a big 10 grand payday on a $300,000 house, because you're probably not, and you're most likely going to lose a couple bucks. Well, I appreciate you guys watching, and if there's anything you'd like to go further in depth with or have me talk about, feel free to comment below, and we will make a video on it next Sunday when we're back in the AM in my truck. Till next time, don't forget to like and subscribe for more, and I will be back with more real estate tips, information, and maybe some short tricks when negotiating contracts.